A McKinney man will spend 30 years in prison after his ex-girlfriend's body was found in his refrigerator, hidden behind a makeshift wall. Chad Stevens pleaded guilty to charges connected to the death of 35-year-old Heather Schwab in 2023. Today, her loved ones shared a message for Stevens in court and talked with Fox 4's Amelia Jones about what they had to say to him. Amelia.
Steve, around 40 people came to the courtroom to show their support for the Schwab family this morning. Heather Schwab's mother and sister told me after today they feel relief and can finally start healing.
Today being up there, it's been a long road.
A road that ended inside a Collin County courtroom Tuesday morning. Chad Stevens signed a plea deal and pleaded guilty to tampering with physical evidence with intent to impair a human corpse. The body of 35-year-old Heather Schwab, Tammy Schwab's daughter. He'll spend 30 years behind bars.
Seeing him taken out afterwards, shackled, and knowing he was going away for 30 years, I can't even tell you the relief.
Tammy Schwab finally got the chance to face Stevens. She shared her victim impact statement that she read in court.
You were evil. Evil is soulless. What you did, and only you committed and did to Heather, is evil. Your worthless life has not served a single purpose. Your life has only brought fear, pain, and destruction.
In November 2023, McKinney police found the mother of two's body in a refrigerator behind a makeshift wall in Stevens' kitchen. McKinney police say they were never able to determine a cause of death because of the condition of the body. Stevens told police Heather Schwab fell in the shower and hit her head, but her mom believes something much more sinister happened.
It is devastating to our family that Heather is no longer here to experience life with. Heather had dreams and a purpose in life. When she met Chad Stevens, he took her down a long, dark road that included mental, emotional, psychological, and physical abuse. We were never able to get our Heather back.
The experience has inspired the family to raise awareness for domestic violence. Heather Schwab's sister is even involved with Genesis, a women's shelter in North Texas.
I can sit here and say my sister was a victim of domestic violence, and there's still so many things that I didn't understand and that I didn't know.
Around 40 people showed up to the courthouse to support the Schwab family. They all wore purple and butterfly pins for Heather. As a mother, Tammy Schwab never stops searching for her daughter. She encourages other families to do the same.
I want them to never stop. Keep pushing. Keep asking.
So they too can find relief and healing.
We know Heather has made it into heaven. We know Heather is free from you and at peace.
This is one of the butterfly pins that Heather's sister gave me. She said Heather loved butterflies because they danced in the sky. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, there is a national hotline you can call. There are also resources available throughout North Texas. We posted a few of them on our website, fox4news.com. Be sure to look for this story on our homepage. Steve, back to you.
All right, Amelia Jones. Amelia, thank you. We're learning a private charter school employee arrested in connection to crimes committed against students was also a youth pastor at a local church.
So that church denies knowing anything about the allegations against former Newman International Academy teacher's aide Ruel Barbie. He is charged with an improper relationship with a student. A former coach there also charged with grooming. And the former principal is charged with an attempt to cover up allegations. Fox 4's David Sintendry is in now with the latest. David.
Yeah, this teacher's aide is accused of a sex crime with a student, and now we're learning what church he was most recently a youth pastor at here locally. Also, investigators are looking in to see if some people at that church knew about these allegations prior to them being public or even entirely separate allegations. After it was announced Thursday that 3 educators at an Arlington charter school were charged with felonies related to crimes against students, Fox 4 has learned that one of them, teacher's aide Ruel Barbie, has been a youth pastor at Oasis Community Worship Center in Fort Worth. In a statement to Fox 4 News, Oasis says it terminated Barbie after Newman International Academy's police department arrested him for improper relationship between educator and student, adding, "We want to make it absolutely clear that neither Oasis Community Worship Center nor any members of its leadership were aware of these allegations before he was arrested."
Mr. Barbie was a youth pastor at church as well.
On Thursday, Fox 4 interviewed Newman Academy's chief of police. At the time, he would not reveal the name of the church Barbie was connected to, but claimed there are multiple churches and education institutions that knew about other potential allegations and kept it quiet.
But we do have credible information of additional victims, and we're working with them. We're looking at those institutions. We're looking at those 3 school districts, and we're looking at 2 churches.
Another pastor at the church is also employed at Newman Academy. A district source tells Fox 4 she's now on administrative leave, but not charged with a crime. That's in addition to several other Newman educators, separate from the ones arrested, also on administrative leave. Here's what the chief had to say about them.
So it's one of 2 things, either incompetence or participation.
Girls varsity basketball coach Gabrielle Little is one of the 3 arrested. She's charged with grooming. Police say Little and Barbie each targeted a different high school student. The now former principal, Rick Adams, was arrested for tampering with both cases.
Whether you're an educator or not, if you are over the age of 18, you have a duty under Texas law to report sexual abuse, exploitation of children. And if you don't, we have a problem with that.
Oasis Community Worship Center did not allow us an on-camera interview, but they did send us a lengthy statement. You saw an excerpt from that statement in our story, but that full statement has been posted over on our website if you want to check it out, fox4news.com.
Fort Worth police are investigating the latest in a string of smash-and-grab robberies.
The thieves have hit the jewelry counters inside several El Rancho grocery stores all across North Texas. Surveillance video captured the most recent hit. That was Sunday in Fort Worth. Police arrested several suspects. Well, now investigators are working to determine if the cases are connected. Fox 4's Stephen Dial live in Fort Worth with more. Stephen.
The incident on Super Bowl Sunday at the El Rancho near the stockyards behind me is the 3rd incident of a smash and grab at a jewelry counter in the last 3 months in the DFW area. Fort Worth investigators saying it's too early to tell if they are connected. The showcases are empty at the jewelry store inside the El Rancho on North Main Street in Fort Worth. On Super Bowl Sunday, police say 4 suspects came in, smashed the glass cases, and got away with thousands of dollars worth of jewelry.
Quick response from a lot of people, video going out and all that. Great detective work, great intel work. We were able to arrest 8 people from that occurrence, and it was less than probably 24 hours that we were able to apprehend those people.
Fox 4 obtained mugshots of 7 suspects who were arrested. Smash and grabs at jewelry stores, specifically inside El Rancho grocery stores, have become a pattern. On January 24th, the location on Coit Road in Dallas was hit. We went there Wednesday morning, and the jewelry counter was closed. The family who owns that jewelry counter also owns another in Dallas at the location on Gus Thomason and Ferguson Roads. When we spoke to Angel Cuenca in December, he said his parents' business helped him through college.
It's unfortunate, you know, someone working 80 hours a week and just have their American dream snatched away from them. I mean, this is literally what put me through Texas Tech and SMU.
We asked Fort Worth police if they believe these crimes are connected. They said it's too early to tell.
If there is other people that are out there that are doing this and maybe tied together, hopefully those people will work with us and we'll bring them to justice. But as of this time, I can't say that they're related right now.
And before the December incident in Dallas, there was an incident in Harris County. At that time, I spoke to the Harris County Sheriff. He said the MO looks similar, but again, no law enforcement agency just yet has said that these are connected.
Well, investigators in Kaufman County say a deadly shooting in a Forney neighborhood that happened in the middle of the day was the result of a drug deal and attempted robbery. Artemimus Darcy now charged with capital murder for last week's incident. Court documents revealed Darcy and an associate met up with 2 people in a white sedan for an apparent drug deal. There was gunfire. One person died. All of this taking place just blocks from a middle school. Fox 4's David Santendry live in Kaufman County with the story. David.
Yeah, Heather, this appears to be a robbery which led to a shootout, and investigators say the person who really started that robbery and was first to draw a gun is the person who wound up dead. A newly obtained arrest warrant reveals robbery as the reason for a shootout in the middle of a Kaufman County neighborhood near Brown Middle School Friday afternoon. Here's sound of the gunfire.
I heard some loud bangs. I thought that was on my door.
Rick Collins walked outside and saw someone involved.
But I went back inside because he saw my face, I saw his face.
The Kaufman County Sheriff's Office has not provided investigative updates since Friday, when it said 2 people were in custody and 2 people were shot, one of them dead. Now, Fox 4 has learned that one of the 2 in custody, Artemius Daquan Searcy, is charged with capital murder. An arrest warrant claims Searcy and a young man named Caden Ryder were attempting to rob 2 men in a Chrysler 300. Ryder, however, was shot in the back and killed. The warrant says Ryder initiated the robbery during a possible marijuana deal by pointing a gun at the driver of the Chrysler and firing into the car, striking the passenger in the face. Investigators say the driver of the Chrysler returned fire and struck Ryder in the back. Ryder fell near Collins' home.
There's a body right down there.
Collins says an off-duty police officer who lives in the neighborhood rushed to help until paramedics arrived.
He started doing chest compressions, CPR, and I knew something was wrong. And he was saying, stay with me, stay with me.
The Chrysler sped off. The driver stopped a couple blocks away at Brown Middle School. His passenger, the one shot in the face, was care-flighted to a hospital. Searcy, who reportedly ran away from the scene, was arrested while walking near the school. It does not appear he fired a gun or even had a gun during the shootout, but investigators believe Searcy played a role.
We've lived here for 15, 16 years.
Collins is glad no bystanders were hurt by stray bullets. He says his neighborhood is not immune to crime, but he feels safe.
Absolutely. You know why?
Why?
I pray every morning that God protects our house, put his holy angels around our house.
As for the passenger of that Chrysler who was shot in the face, we don't have a current update on his health. On Friday, he was said to be in critical condition, and that's what it says in the warrant. But since Friday, we again have not had any sort of update from Kaufman County Sheriff's Office. So we're working to learn more on that person's condition. It's also unclear if the driver of the Chrysler who returned fire at those robbers, if he will face any sort of charges.
Mesquite police are looking for a man who opened fire in popular City Lake Park, shooting 2 men. Both survived. It happened just before Thanksgiving with about 24 teenagers present, some skipping school on a sunny November day. Fox 4's Sean Rabb has cell phone video that captured the shooting in this week's Trackdown.
And this is City Lake Park, where that shooting happened November 22nd. With me, Mesquite Police Detective Jim Leakey. Detective, tell me about what happened. And who is your suspect?
So my suspect is Adrian Gray. He's a 17-year-old black male, and basically what had occurred is some students from Mesquite High School, which is just across the street, came over here. I think they were cutting class a little bit. Disturbance happens, a disagreement happens. 2 different witnesses captured some video. It's a little shaky, but you can see the argument kind of occur and hear it occur.
We're gonna be bad.
Adrian Gray removes a handgun and fires approximately 10 rounds, striking 2 other 17-year-olds. One was struck in the upper back, in the back of the head. The other one was struck in the left forearm. He then fled the scene, and he is yet to be located. He has 2 aggravated assault warrants out of Dallas County that are currently active. He does have ties to Greenville, Mesquite, Garland, and Dallas, so it's been very hard to track him down and locate him.
What bothers you about what happened here?
So just the sheer disregard for life. This is a park where communities come out and visit and relax. The blatant disregard for discharging that firearm at somebody for a pure argument that occurred is just kind of baffles me.
What is it that you need, sir?
So basically, I need anybody that has information on where Adrian's at to possibly contact me. They can contact me on my desk phone or my email. So my phone number is 972-329-8780. That's my direct desk line. My email is jleakey@mesquitepolice.org. Adrian is also a documented gang member out of Garland. So with his violent kind of past and history, we'd really like to get him apprehended in jail.
No argument should lead to this.
No, not at all. No argument should ever lead to a gun being produced because something was said that somebody didn't like. So.
All right. Mesquite Police Detective Jim Leakey is looking for Adrian Gray. Where is he? Have you seen him? Know where he is? Get at Detective Jim Leakey. His phone number, his email. Get at him. Help him find the man they're looking for shooting 2 people here at City Lake Park just before Thanksgiving last year.
And to date, Trackdown has resulted in 189 arrests. You can watch past Trackdown stories and maybe help solve a crime. Go to the Fox 4 YouTube page, youtube.com/Fox 4 News.
A new report reveals staff at a now closed treatment center for Texas foster children ignored a boy's cries for medical help.
The boy later died in the middle of a movie theater where 7 staff members were present. Fox 4's Lori Brown live with this frankly disturbing story. Lori.
Heather, the Department of Family Protective Services is investigating the death of the 11-year-old boy, and according to this new report, the foster care facility had a history of problems, including fight clubs and sexual misconduct. The Texas Department of Health and Human Services told us in a statement that it found Thompson's Residential Treatment Center in Greenville posed an immediate threat to the health and safety of children. 1 week after an 11-year-old boy died under their care, HHSC shut the facility down. A boy referred to in the report by his initials, OR, died November 27th. 7 staff members took OR and 19 other children to see a movie, Gladiator 2. The report says staff told law enforcement OR was fine most of the day and walked into the movie on his own accord. But when law enforcement reviewed surveillance video, they found OR was unsteady on his feet and not able to walk on his own. OR looked like he was about to pass out, and they were dragging him along by his arm. And then OR falls to the ground as they pass the ticket counter. Staff then drag OR down the hallway a few feet before picking him back up and continue to force him forward to get him into the movie theater. At the end of the movie, staff are seen laying him on the floor in the hall. OR was clearly unresponsive and staff called 911 at 10:06 p.m. Finally, after 3 minutes, staff 1 began to attempt CPR. Interviews revealed OR had woken up that morning screaming and crying in pain and complaining of a stomach ache. The report says he informed staff that evening that he did not want to go to the movie because he continued to feel unwell and weak. A preliminary autopsy found he had a bowel blockage. It's news revealed by State Senator Angela Paxton during a Senate Finance Committee earlier this month.
Tragically, in my district, there was an 11-year-old boy who passed away this past November while he was under the care of a licensed residential treatment center.
Turns out there were plenty of warning signs about Thompson's Residential Treatment Center. A report released Tuesday says in 2011, the facility received 14 citations for allowing fight clubs. Some children were choked to the point of turning colors during the fights. Staff would referee the fights, make bets on who they thought would win, and sometimes fight the children, the report said. There were also reports of sexual misconduct between children. Paxton asked what the state is doing to shut down bad facilities before a tragedy happens. HHS Chief Policy and Regulatory Officer said the answer may be fewer regulations.
This is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but we're undergoing a process of reviewing all of their regulations, rules, policy guidance, etc. It is voluminous, and I think our staff, when they go in for surveys or annual inspections, we have so many rules that they can only do half of the rules each year in terms of determining compliance.
The staff member who was the supervisor on the movie trip had a history of complaints about physical abuse while working at Thompson's Farmersville campus. That campus closed in 2021, but then reopened under a new name in 2022. That facility also closed in December. Heather.